It's hard to argue, really, that anyone has had a bigger global impact recently than Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Singer, songwriter, actress,
Mm.
and a record-breaking artist with this truly massive fan base.
Yeah, absolutely. It's more than just catchy songs, isn't it? It's become this whole cultural force.
Exactly. And that's precisely what we want to dig into in this deep dive. We've got this interesting source. It's an English learning story about her. And our goal really is to get past the basics.
Right, to unpack the key moments.
Yeah, uncover how this small town girl actually became a global icon. We're looking for those key insights, those sort of aha moments for you, the listener, to get a real feel for her rise.
And what strikes me immediately is just the scale of it all. The sheer trajectory. We're looking at childhood dreams, the music industry maze, her changing musical styles, that intense media focus, and now building this, well, what looks like a pretty enduring legacy. It's a fascinating look at ambition, adaptation.
And connecting with people.
Exactly. That connection is key.
Okay, so let's rewind. December 13th, 1989. Reading, Pennsylvania. And get this. She grew up on a Christmas tree farm.
Right, with her parents, Andrea and Scott, and her younger brother, Austin. Sounds idyllic, maybe?
Maybe. But the story points out she had this incredible energy, a big imagination, loved stories, and especially loved music, even back then.
Kind of early environment, somewhere imagination can just run wild. Plus, that interest in stories and music seems really foundational.
It wasn't just wanting to be famous.
No, it was more fundamental, wanting to tell stories through song.
And apparently that really clicked around age 9. She heard country music, and the idea of a singer telling a story through a song just captivated her. So she started singing herself. Local events, karaoke contests, school fairs, anywhere she could get on a stage, basically. That drive seems really innate.
It really does. That kind of motivation, so young, it often points to something real in creative fields. It wasn't about fame yet, really.
Doesn't sound like it.
It was just the love of doing it, connecting with whoever was listening, even if it was just a small crowd.
And then comes the songwriting. She gets a guitar at 12, and she doesn't just want to play covers.
Right. She starts writing her own stuff.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah. Her first song, Lucky You, it's mentioned. And it really shows that early knack for turning her feelings, what was happening with friends, school life, into lyrics.
That's the start, isn't it? The beginning of her voice, drawing right from her own life, which gives it that authentic feel.
Totally. That's what would make her connect later on, that emotional core.
Absolutely. And her parents saw this passion growing.
Oh, massively supportive. We're talking weekend road trips all the way to Nashville.
The heart of country music.
Exactly. Armed with demo CDs. Yeah, those early recordings. Artists used to pitch themselves. Hours in the car, knocking on doors.
And getting turned down a lot initially.
Yeah, the label saw a kid, talented maybe, but didn't quite get the potential yet.
Yeah.
But she kept going. Writing, singing, practicing.
That perseverance is pretty remarkable, especially then. Facing rejection like that in music, it could easily crush someone young.
Shows real determination, doesn't it? And belief in herself.
Definitely. Then, the big move. She's 14.
The whole family packs up and moves to Nashville for her career. Imagine that.
Huge decision. New town, new school, all for this dream.
But she stayed focused.
Yeah.
Performing constantly, writing with experienced songwriters, often the youngest one there, but working hard.
That family commitment is extraordinary, too. They clearly took her talent and ambition very seriously.
And then, the moment. Scott Borchetta. He sees her playing in a small cafe.
Right, and he's just starting his own label, Big Machine Records.
Perfect timing. He sees something special, makes her his very first signing. Classic, right place, right time.
But also being ready for it.
Absolutely ready. Borchetta took a chance, saw what others missed. That gave her the launch pad she needed.
And it didn't take long for everyone else to see it. 2006, her first single, Tim McGraw. Such a sweet song. Then the debut album, Taylor Swift, full of songs she wrote like Teardrops on My Guitar, Our Song.
And the honesty just jumped out. Teenagers felt like she was singing their lives, you know?
Yeah, it felt real. Parents liked her talent, her work ethic too. By the end of that first album cycle...
Which is like the whole promotion period around an album.
Right. By the end of that, she was undeniably a rising star in country music. Not bad for the girl from the Christmas Tree Farm.
That success was built on being genuine, relatable. She wasn't pretending. She was singing her audience's experiences. That connection was powerful.
Okay, so she's conquered country music, essentially. But the story's just getting started, is it?
Far from over. 2008 brings Fearless, and you can really hear her country roots starting to blend with, well, more obvious pop sounds.
And the hits were just enormous. Love Story, that Romeo and Juliet retelling, but with a happy ending.
Super clever. And You Belong With Me. Those songs were everywhere.
The album was huge, bestseller in the U.S. in 2009. And then the Grammys. She wins Album of the Year. At 19, the youngest artist ever to win that award.
Just incredible. The kind of success most artists only dream of.
And this is where her audience really broadens out, right? That country pop mix brought in so many new listeners, showed she could write songs that were emotional and incredibly catchy.
That Grammy win really put her on the map as a major force beyond just country.
But that kind of meteoric rise,
yeah,
it comes with challenges, big ones.
Oh, yeah. Suddenly everything you do is under a microscope. And the source brings up that infamous 2009 VMAs moment.
With Kanye West interrupting her acceptance speech?
Yeah. She's 19, accepting this award live on TV, and that happens. Must have been incredibly jarring.
Awful moment. But weirdly, it almost boosted her profile, made people aware of her, maybe sympathetic.
In her reaction, how composed she seemed.
Right. Her handling of it, her resilience afterwards, it resonated. It kind of showed she could handle pressure with, well, grace.
And she puts that experience, all that attention, right back into the music. 2010 Speak Now.
And the big thing here, she wrote every single song by herself.
No co-writers. That's a statement. Songs like Back to December, Enchanted, and Mean.
Yeah.
You hear her growing up dealing with more complex stuff.
Yeah. Mean directly tackles her critics. She's definitely moving past just teenage love stories.
Speak Now really felt like her saying, I am a songwriter, hear me roar, you know?
Yeah.
Taking full control.
A huge undertaking, writing a whole album alone, shows real confidence and creative ownership.
Okay, so then comes the big pivot. The official leap towards pop with Red in 2012.
Right. And that album was such an interesting blend. You still had hints of country, but also massive pop anthems, even some rock vibes.
And the hits just kept coming. We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together. I Knew You Were Trouble.
And All Too Well, which is fascinating because it wasn't even a main single.
But became this massive fan favorite.
Totally legendary. And then years later, she releases the original 10-minute version.
And it breaks streaming records. Shows the power of one really personal, deep song connecting with millions.
Red was definitely that turning point, signaling the move to pop loud and clear. She was experimenting, pushing boundaries, but still telling those great stories.
And All Too Well really proves how much that narrative depth matters.
But even with all the success, the number ones, the source hints there was this internal struggle going on.
Yeah, the pressure to fit into boxes, right?
Yeah.
Country star, pop star, perfect girl.
All those labels people wanted to stick on her. And her wanting artistic freedom, you sense that tension building underneath.
It's a common thing for artists who get huge fast, isn't it? Balancing public image with needing to be true to your art.
Absolutely. That need to reinvent, to not be pigeonholed, often drives big artistic changes.
And then bam, 2014, 1989, her first, pure pop album. Even the title, Her Birth Year, felt like starting fresh. A rebirth.
A totally clean slate. And it was just hit after hit after hit. Shake It Off.
Such an anthem. Brushing off the haters.
Blank space where she brilliantly plays with her media image.
So smart.
Style. It felt like pop perfection, really.
And then she wins Album of the Year at the Grammys again, making her the first woman ever to win it twice.
Monumental. I wasn't just trying pop, it was dominating it.
1989 cemented her as a global pop superstar, no question. Cohesive sound, relatable themes. She mastered it.
And winning that second album Grammy just underscored the critical acclaim alongside the massive commercial success.
Around this time, her focus starts to widen beyond just the music, too.
Right, the source mentions her speaking out more. Industry stuff.
Yeah, advocating for artists' fair pay, from streaming, owning your own music. The master recordings issue.
Which wasn't always easy. Led to public feuds, lots of headlines.
But she didn't back down. She was becoming more than just an artist. She was becoming an advocate, a voice.
Shows her realizing her influence, right, and being willing to use it to push for change in the industry. A definite shift from just focusing on her own songs.
So she's at this incredible peak. But then around 2016, things get really rocky.
Yeah, the story talks about that period. Very turbulent.
That old feud with Kanye West and Kim Kardashian flares up again, really intensely.
And that phone call gets leaked without her permission.
Suddenly she's facing this huge internet backlash. The whole Taylor Swift is over party thing trending worldwide sounds incredibly rough.
It really shows the nasty side of modern fame, doesn't it? How fast things spread online, often without context, leading to this mass judgment, intense pressure.
And how does she react? She basically vanishes.
Right, pulls back completely, no public appearances, quiet on social media.
Which for her, someone always so connected to her fans, was really noticeable.
But it wasn't giving up. The story frames it as needing to heal, reflect, and write.
A strategic retreat, maybe, for self-preservation and creative regrouping. Even massive stars need space to breathe.
Exactly. And then, 2017, the comeback. And it was, well, different.
Very different. The lead single, Look What You Made Me Do. That line.
The old Taylor can't come to the phone right now. Why? Oh, 'cause she's dead.
So bold, so defiant. And the album, Reputation, matched that vibe. Darker, stronger.
Songs like Ready for It, Endgame, I Did Something Bad. Really confrontational.
But the source points out, there was still vulnerability there, like indelicate. It wasn't all just tough facade.
Right. Showed there were still layers beneath. And she was also in this serious relationship, but kept it very private during all this.
Reputation felt like her seizing back the narrative, facing the criticism head on. The sound reflected that resilience built through adversity.
And that contrast with Delicate showed the complexity, the public armor, and the private feelings coexisting.
And even with all that controversy swirling, the Reputation Stadium tour was massive.
Huge success. One of the highest grossing tours ever. Proved her fan base was absolutely still there for her.
But then the pendulum swings again. 2019, Lover comes out.
And it's like the sun came out after a storm.
Totally. Color, light, hope. Songs like Lover, You Need to Calm Down, The Vulnerable, The Archer.
A very conscious shift back towards optimism, inclusion.
And during this time, she gets even more vocal about social issues, right?
Yeah, LGBTQ plus rights, women's rights, really pushing her fans to vote, using that platform more overtly.
Shows a growing sense of responsibility, maybe?
Yeah.
Engaging with bigger issues important to her and her fans.
Definitely seems that way. And then 2020 hits. The pandemic.
And she just drops. Not one, but two surprise albums.
Folklore and then Evermore. Completely unexpected.
And a totally different sound again. Quieter, more poetic, lots of storytelling about fictional characters.
Like little novels set to music. Songs like Cardigan, Exile, The Last Great American Dynasty.
They felt so intimate. And for people stuck in lockdown, that music was apparently a huge comfort.
Really showed her versatility, didn't it? And her ability to connect in different ways. Shifting to that more introspective, fictional style showed her still evolving, responding to the world.
But while she's putting out all this amazing new music, There's still that background battle going on.
The masters, the sale of her old label, losing control of her first 6 albums.
It's a tough situation a lot of artists face, but her response was groundbreaking.
Deciding to re-record everything, to own her work again. The Taylor's Version project.
So bold.
Yeah.
And the fan support was just overwhelming, right?
Absolutely immense. When Fearless, Taylor's Version, and Red, Taylor's Version, came out in 2021 with those extra vault tracks.
It felt like a huge win for her and for the fans. A celebration.
And that 10-minute All Too Well short film just amplified the whole thing.
The Taylor's Version initiative is massive for the industry. Highlights how crucial it is for artists to own their work. And it showed the power of her fan base.
Totally. Reclaiming her story, setting a precedent for others.
Which brings us almost up to date.
And
the Eras Tour.
What a phenomenon. The announcement in late 2022, the absolute frenzy for tickets.
Insane demand. And the concept itself, celebrating her whole career.
Yeah.
Each album getting its own era on stage.
Just brilliant. The show itself sounds incredible, over 3 hours long.
40-plus songs, dazzling costumes, the whole emotional journey through her music.
The source mentions the different sets like Lover's Pastels, Reputation's Fire.
The Folklore Evermore Forest, and performing the full 10-minute All Too Well during the Red set.
It's just this epic celebration of her entire body of work and that incredible bond with her fans. Revisiting every stage like that is pretty unique.
And it became more than just a tour, didn't it? A global event.
Oh, yeah. Cities renaming themselves for her, fans flying internationally.
The friendship bracelets. That tiny detail became huge, symbolizing the community.
And it broke records left and right. Highest grossing tour by a woman ever.
It's just on another level culturally.
The global impact is undeniable. The economic ripples, the cultural moments. It underlines her status as a true global icon.
And those bracelets really capture that sense of shared experience among the fans. It's powerful.
And somehow, while doing all that, she also released another album.
Midnights. Late 2022. Focusing on those late-night thoughts, anxieties, secrets.
And bang, straight to #1 everywhere. And then she did that thing.
Occupy the entire top 10 of the Billboard Hot 100 simultaneously.
Unprecedented. Just mind-blowing dominance. Midnights proves she's still completely relevant, still connecting. That chart record is historic. Solidifies her as just this powerhouse in music.
But her influence now goes way beyond just music, as the story touches on.
Right. Fashion, business savvy, she's directed short films.
All the awards, Artist of the Decade, Woman of the Decade, and universities are actually studying her songwriting now.
It shows her impact is really broad: culture, business, film. And the academic interest validates the depth and significance of her writing.
But when you strip it all back, what's the core of it? The story suggests it's that personal connection with the fans.
That emotional bond. Millions of people feel like her music helped them, understood them.
Her honesty about relatable stuff, love, heartbreak, insecurity, joy, that seems to be the magic ingredient.
That feels right. That's the heart of why she endures.
And she's still learning, still growing, using her platform for things she believes in: artists' rights, women's rights, equality.
Right. She's not aiming for perfection. She's aiming for realness, it seems.
Yeah. That ongoing growth, plus using her influence for good, it demonstrates a commitment beyond just her own career.
So from that Christmas tree farm
to stadiums worldwide, it's been this incredible ride of courage, creativity, and connection.
Turning her experiences, good and bad, into these anthems people live by.
Who knows what's next? But you just know millions will be listening. And maybe for you listening now, there's inspiration in that. Your story matters too. Keep learning, keep growing, keep writing your own path. Maybe take a page from Taylor's book.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? Her constant reinvention, her fearlessness in embracing change. What does that teach us about our own potential to evolve and grow?